Kharn has dedicated his millennia-long existence to unleashing bloody carnage upon anyone and anything within reach. He is drawn by the scent of war as a hungering hound is drawn by fresh meat, and it has become impossible to tally his slaying. Even in the Great Crusade, when he fought in the assault companies of the World Eater's Legion, he was known to be a brilliant but unstable warrior. Indeed, the whole World Eater's Legion was viewed as excessively bloodthirsty and dangerously overzealous in the suppression of planets that had not even defied the Emperor's will. When the heresy came, Kharn gladly led his warriors against his brother Marines, most notoriously in the drop site massacres on Istvan V. In the siege of the Imperial Palace, he was at the forefront of every assault. When Horus was defeated, Kharn already lay dead and horribly mangled upon a mound of corpses at the walls of the inner palace. His fellow World Eaters carried his corpse away with them as they fought their way back to their ships. Once on board, they discovered that by some dark miracle Kharn still lived. Whether Khorne himself breathed life back into the Berserker's body, or whether the relentless clamor of war revived his indomitable spirit remains a mystery, but since the heresy, Kharn has survived the bloodiest battles of his age, and never come so close to death again. He is called the Betrayer, because he will slay those that follow him almost as readily as those that oppose him. The World Eater's legionaries learned that bitter lesson shortly after they reached the Eye of Terror as they fought against the legion of the Emperor's children for possession of a demon world called Scalathrax. On Scalathrax, howling winds carved and recarved an endless landscape of black rock and white ice. Stark black cities of twisting towers clutched at the leaden skies like winter-struck trees. The legions fought, and the World Eaters drove the Emperor's children back from city after city with their bloody assaults. At the last and greatest city, the World Eaters sensed that victory was near. They needed to inflict just one more defeat on the Emperor's children to claim the planet as their own. The battle had to be won soon, before Scalathrax's long, dark night drew in and froze victor and vanquished alike, if they were not in shelter. Flames lashed the skies and blood ran in the streets as the World Eaters hurled themselves at the foe. Every arched door and slitted window seemed to spit fire at the Berserk warriors, but they stormed onward, chain axes biting into armor and flesh as they overran their foes. Sonic blasters swept streets clear again, but the Chosen of Khorne fought on with the strength of madmen until only a few pockets of resistance survived. There the attack was halted as darkness fell. Kharn cursed his fellow warriors for seeking shelter, while their enemies still lived. Seizing a flamer, he span around and torched the nearest buildings in a gesture of contempt. When his brother Marines tried to stop him, he cut them down like corn and disappeared into the gloom. The serpent's tongue of his flamer burst, licking out again and again to consume the city. The howling wind spread the fires quickly, and soon pure anarchy prevailed as the legionaries fought each other, and the fires for what shelter remained. Through the mayhem strode Kharn, slaughtering any that he found, friend or foe, the bright flames flickering from his blood-splattered armor as he wielded his shrieking chain axe in an arc of whirling death. After that night of madness, the World Eaters were scattered into separate companies fighting across the Eye of Terror. Many still bear a burning hatred of Kharn for his actions, but others admire his single-minded devotion to slaughter. Kharn has led warbands of Khorne Berzerkers and other forces into uncounted battles. Victory is always his, but his followers seldom survive to see it. Now only the most dedicated or insane warriors will follow him, but this is of no consequence to the betrayer who lives only to slay in Khorne's name. Kharn is a blood-soaked ravager, favored by Khorne the Lord of Battles as one of his most insane and deadly berserkers, an exalted champion of butchery and mayhem.
Welcome. In today's video we will be taking a look at the second edition rules for everyone's favorite murder machine, Kharn the Betrayer. Kharn, in Old Earth language, is simply a beast. Coming in at 217 points including his war gear and chaos gifts, Kharn is a formidable opponent. with movement 4, weapon skill 9, ballistic skill 7, strength 6, toughness 5, 6 wounds thanks to the blood fury of Khorne, initiative 7, 3 attacks, with a leadership of 10 and is immune to psychology, except for his own frenzy. His Mark of Khorne gives him a basic armor save of 2+, which is his only protection, as well as making him frenzied in combat. Kharn may also re-roll any failed armor save. He is armed with a Mark 1 plasma pistol, frag and crack grenades and, of course, Gore Child. Kharn may lead an army with his strategy rating of 3 if the army is 1000 points or less, or else made up entirely of Khorne Berzerkers and Demons of Khorne. I would personally extend this to include any models with the Mark of Khorne. He boasts quite the combination of rules which, along with his stat line and wargear, make him a serious threat on the tabletop. First, Kharn triples his charge move, instead of doubling it, giving him a charge range of 12 inches. This move may only be made if it gets him into combat with the enemy. It is said his combat blows are so heavy that it is impossible to block his attacks, so enemy models cannot parry against him. Finally, his follow-up move after combat is doubled to 4 inches instead of 2. The blood fury of Khorne also means that, should Kharn slay an enemy in combat, and no other enemies are within his 4-inch follow-up, but a friendly model is, Kharn will immediately move into base contact with them, and attack in subsequent phases. Kharn will always prioritize enemy models over friendly models, so long as they are within range. Lastly, we come to Gore Child. Gore Child enables Kharn to reroll any fumbles and hits at a strength of 7, with a -4 saving throw modifier, causing 1 damage, with an armor penetration of d6 plus d12 plus 7. Any one of these rules would make any standard character better in combat. Combined, they make Kharn nigh unstoppable in close combat, perhaps as he should be. Personally, I'd hesitate to alter him too much, perhaps a small points increase to 225 at most. Ideally you would deal with Kharn by shooting him with heavy or special weaponry, or, failing that, try to bog him down in combat with more expendable troops, buying you time to complete your objective. His weakness is that he has no invulnerable save, so most power weapons stand a fair chance of wounding him. The question is, do you risk getting your general or close combat specialist that close to Khorne's favorite son of bloodshed? That concludes our look at Kharn. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe and comment for more 2nd edition content. Praise be to the Omnissiah.